Okay, stop whatever you're doing. There are 48 teams at this World Cup. That's not a World Cup. That's a national census with jerseys. And look, I get it. At first glance, this whole format feels like FIFA threw darts at a whiteboard, circled all the wrong numbers, and said, ship it. Third place teams advancing, 12 groups. A round of 32 that literally nobody asked for. But here's the thing. Once you understand why this format exists, who it's actually designed to serve, it stops being confusing, and it starts being something way more interesting. I'm going to explain the entire 2026 World Cup format in under 5 minutes, and by the end, you're going to have a very different opinion about who this tournament was really built for. Let's go. Let's start from the beginning. For almost 30 years, since 1998, the World Cup had 32 teams, 8 groups of 4. Top 2 from each group advanced. Clean. Simple, made sense. You played 3 group games. Either you made the round of 16, or you went home. No gray areas, no weird math, no existential crisis on match day 3. That was the format, and genuinely, it worked great. So naturally, FIFA blew it up. Here's what 2026 actually looks like. 48 teams, 12 groups, 4 teams per group. Every team still plays 3 games against the other teams in their group. That part hasn't changed. What changed is how many teams advance. In the old format, 2 teams per group moved on. That's 16 teams total out of 32, exactly half. Now, it's the top 2 from each group, plus the 8 best third-place finishers from across all 12 groups. That gets you to 32 teams advancing out of 48, 2/3 of the field. Moving on, 2/3. Let that breathe for a second. Here's where it gets interesting. In the old format, finishing 3rd in your group meant you were eliminated. Done. Book your flight home. You came, you saw, you did not conquer. Now, 3rd place might still get you through. There are 12 groups. Each one produces a 3rd place team. That gives you 12 third-place finishers. Then FIFA lines them all up, ranks them by points and goal difference, and the top 8 advance to the knockout round. So 4 third-place teams still go home, but 8 of them live to fight another day. In theory, this creates dramatic group stage finales where every point matters. In practice, it means a team can lose 2 games, scrape 1 win, finish 3rd, and still technically be in a World Cup knockout round. Your reaction to that sentence tells you everything about how you feel about this format. Let's keep going, because the knockout round is where this gets structurally weird. Instead of jumping straight to a round of 16 like the old format, we now have a round of 32. An extra knockout round that didn't exist before. That means if you make it through the group stage, you still need to win 5 games to lift the trophy. It was 6 games before. Now it's 6 again, same number, but there's an extra early round in there. This sounds simple, it isn't. The scheduling of who plays who in the round of 32 is one of the most complicated bracket systems you'll ever see. FIFA has to make sure teams from the same group can't meet again until the quarterfinals. That means the bracket is essentially predetermined before a single ball is kicked. It's a logistical nightmare dressed up as a football tournament. Respect, honestly. Here's a number you need to know. 104. That's how many games are being played at this World Cup. The old format gave you 64 matches. This one adds 40 more. 40 extra games. That's basically an entire extra Copa America stuffed inside the World Cup. And here's the part that answers the question this whole video started with. Why does this format exist? Because each of those 40 extra games is a broadcast window, a sponsorship slot, a piece of content, a reason to buy a ticket. FIFA is expected to pull in somewhere around $9 billion from this World Cup. With the expanded format, broadcasting rights alone are projected at close to $4 billion, roughly 30% more than Qatar 2022. FIFA will tell you this is about global inclusion and giving more nations a chance to dream. And there's truth in that. Africa got more spots. Asia got more spots. Smaller confederations that used to watch from the outside are now actually inside the tournament. But let's not pretend the math doesn't also work out beautifully for FIFA's bank account. You know the type. All right. Fair play to the critics for a second. There's a real argument that expanding the field dilutes the competition. And FIFA's own internal research, before the expansion was approved, literally acknowledged that a 32-team tournament produces the highest quality football. Their own research said that. They then voted to expand anyway. The concern is legitimate. When you have 48 teams, some of those matchups in the group stage are not going to be competitive. You're going to get Spain versus some nation with a population smaller than a mid-sized city. The scorelines might get ugly. The games might feel like warm-up matches. In theory, more teams means more stories, more upsets, more magic. In practice, you also get more mismatches. And a tournament where 2/3 of the field advances is a tournament where the stakes feel different. Whether that's a problem or just a feature depends on what you think a World Cup should be. Okay, here's the part nobody talks about. This format, bizarre as it looks, actually solves one very specific problem that plagued the old World Cup. Match fixing by convenience. At the old World Cup, when two teams from the same group played each other on the final match day, already knowing what scoreline they needed to advance, they'd sometimes find that scoreline suspiciously quickly and then defend it with their lives. It happened in 1982. It's called the Disgrace of Gijón. Two teams played out a result that eliminated a third team. Technically legal, morally catastrophic, still talked about today. With more teams advancing in 2026, the incentive to play out a cozy result is lower. You're less likely to need a specific score. Third place might save you anyway. That doesn't eliminate collusion completely, but it changes the calculus. Slightly less room for the ugliest version of the beautiful game. That's not nothing. So here's where we land. We started with a format that looked like chaos. 48 teams, 12 groups, third place wildcards. A round of 32 nobody asked for, 104 games. It genuinely looks like someone hit shuffle on the entire concept of a football tournament. But here's the one sentence that makes it all make sense. FIFA built a tournament for the world and then sold the broadcast rights to it. That's it. That's the whole thing. Inclusion and commercialism, hand in hand, wrapped in a Brazilian jersey. Now here's the question I'll leave you with. In 10 years, when the 2026 format is the norm, and everyone has forgotten the 32-team World Cup existed, are we going to look back at this as the moment football truly went global? Or the moment FIFA started turning the World Cup into a Netflix content machine? I genuinely don't know. And that's what makes this interesting. If you want more videos breaking down how sports, money, and weird tournament formats collide in ways nobody saw coming, subscribe. New video soon.